It's no secret that Damian Lillard was widely viewed as one of the most loyal stars in the league during his time in Portland. This man was so loyal that he would even criticize other stars for running from the grind as he stayed true, exhausting all options in Portland. That Dame and PG beef was definitely a classic. But despite Dame's loyalty, giving Portland everything that he had and still having an appetite to win in Portland, the Blazers would still ultimately decide to look towards the future, doing things like drafting Scoot Henderson 3rd overall in this past draft. The Blazers drafting Scoot and refusing to push assets and having no interest in winning now would ultimately signal the end for Dame in Portland as we knew it, with him being sent to Milwaukee. But if you let Dame tell it, that's not initially the way that things were supposed to play out at all, and that's starting to wear on him. But first, so over the years, I've grown to love going to live events like concerts and basketball games with my family and friends. But while I've loved going to events, there is one thing that I used to hate about them, and that was the whole ticket buying process. I used to despise that process, but then I found out about Game Time and everything changed. Game Time is the fast, easy, and cheaper way to buy tickets for all sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. They have great last-minute deals which are offered even an hour after an event starts. They have all-in prices, and they also have their lowest price guarantee, which is fantastic if you're just out there trying to find the best deal possible. With Game Time, you can also view your seat from the app, which is one of my favorite and most underrated features. Imagine wasting your hard-earned money thinking that you're getting amazing seats only for your view to be nothing like you thought it would. Guys, make your life easier and take the guessing out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code COOP for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code COOP for $20 off of your first purchase. I want to give a huge shout out to Game Time for coming through and sponsoring today's content. The Milwaukee Bucks entered this season with especially sky-high expectations after coming out of nowhere and trading for Damian Lillard in an effort to appease the massive win-now appetite of Giannis Antetokounmpo. Everybody thought that Dame was going to Miami, but that wouldn't be the case despite a Miami move being what Dame initially wanted. This whole situation was a mess, at least it was to me. Dame himself wouldn't even be shy about Miami being his desired destination even after landing in Milwaukee. While Dame wouldn't get his wish of going to Miami, he would get the opportunity to pair up with the most dominant force in the league, Giannis Antetokounmpo, who surprisingly didn't crack his lineup for his dream starting five. On this list, Dame would include Bam Adebayo, who currently plays for the Miami Heat, over his current teammate, Giannis Antetokounmpo. And Bam Adebayo, who is a known troll, wouldn't make this situation any better, as his response to this would be a gif of Westbrook saying, "That's very interesting." While Milwaukee wasn't Dame's supposed initial destination, it still was one where he saw limitless potential. The league's best deep-range shooter pairing up with the league's most dominant player in Giannis. What could possibly go wrong? For starters, before the season even started, Dame would lose his former head coach Terry Stotts. Stotts was the lead assistant on Adrian Griffin's staff and supposed to be the mastermind behind their offense. After losing Stotts, Dame would eventually lose Adrian Griffin, who started the season as the Bucks head coach. AG would be replaced by Doc, and stop me if you've heard this one before, but the whole thing was a mess. Apparently a major reason that the Bucks felt the need to replace Griffin was the fact that he couldn't figure out how to get the most out of Dame. Last season, Damian Lillard would be coming off of one of his best offensive seasons, averaging 32.2 points and 7.3 assists, while shooting 46.3% from the field and 37.1% from deep. This season, Dame hasn't been close to touching those numbers, as his numbers in deficiency are way down. This season, Dame has been averaging 24.5 points and 6.8 assists, while shooting 42.5% from the field and 34.4% from deep. I understand the points being down playing alongside Giannis, but if they have to be down, then there's no doubt that the efficiency should be better. Sadly, so far the pairing of Giannis and Dame hasn't exactly gone to plan, yielding mixed results, with Dame looking like a shell of the man that stole our hearts shooting from the parking lot in Portland. The good news for Milwaukee fans is that Giannis has been his dominant self, having his best offensive season to date, averaging 30.7 points, 11.2 rebounds, and 6.3 assists while shooting 61.1% from the field. Again, Giannis has been a beast this year, and he's showing no signs of letting up, I actually think that he's been so good that we need to do a breakdown on the season that he's been having very soon. So if you guys are new, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so that you don't miss that breakdown or any new content that I might drop. More good news for Bucks fans is that although we've only seen shades of the best version of Dame this year, this team has still been looking much better as of late after an abysmal start to the Doc Rivers era. Now the bad news is that some people are already starting to wonder if Damian Lillard's heart is in it thanks to some recent comments that have been made by the dynamic Bucks star. About a month ago in an interview with Yahoo, Dame called his divorce and move to Milwaukee the hardest transition of his life. To quote Dame, "As much as I love basketball and I love my job, I don't care about it more than I care about my kids. Of course you carry it with you when people say when I hoop I ain't thinking about nothing. But I'm not 21. I got 3 kids, I'm tight with my family, and I'm going through a divorce." Make no mistake about it, this wasn't Dame giving us an excuse for the season that he's been having. This was more so Dame being candid and letting us know that he deals with things also. At the end of the day, this man is only human. In a more recent interview, Dame would continue to let us know how hard that adjusting to life in Milwaukee has been for him, saying that he's lonely and doesn't have much of a life. If you guys think that that sounds bad, then maybe the full quote will sound a little better. Quote, "I go to practice, go home, watch boxing, play video games, and man, I search for this boxing YouTube channel 100 times and just pray that they have something new on there. Seriously, I don't have much of a life." There's no other way to put it. This man has been going through it. Imagine that you become the greatest player that a franchise has seen. You show incredible loyalty to that franchise, you go on to raise your family in the city where this franchise is located, and then after all of this you end up getting traded away from your family while having to handle a divorce in the process. Guys, divorces can get really ugly. A divorce and having to move away from your family would be really rough for anybody. Dame wouldn't hold back on the honesty in this interview. Now later, in that same interview, he would let us know that he was also surprised with the way that things had been going down in Milwaukee, saying that "I thought that we were going to be where Boston is right now." For reference, the Celtics are currently 46-12 and own the best record in the entire NBA. Now, while Dame would admit that he hasn't found himself yet in Milwaukee, and had lofty expectations coming into this season, he says that he is in fact happy in Milwaukee and that he knew that there was a chance that this entire process would take some time. And while it has indeed taken some time for the Milwaukee Bucks to look fluid, they've slowly but surely started figuring things out. Trust me, I know that this is going to sound crazy, but as easy as it has been to dunk on Doc, the Bucks have been looking more cohesive since his hiring, regardless of what their record under him says. And I'm not just saying this because the Bucks recently smashed the Hornets 123-85, but I mean, don't get me wrong. That beatdown was ugly and it did give the Bucks their biggest win of the season. Now while it's always nice to beat any NBA team by 38 points, what's more impressive is the fact that Doc has actually been able to turn around this Bucks defense. According to the lead SM, since Doc took over for Milwaukee, the Bucks have been 5th in defensive rating, 4th in opponent points in the paint, 2nd in opponent fast break points, and 1st in opponent field goals inside of 6 feet. Mind you that they were near the bottom for all of these categories before Doc took over. Now don't get me wrong, as nice as it is that things are at least looking promising, things are far from perfect in Milwaukee. The fact that Dame hasn't found himself yet with only 20 or so games remaining is concerning, but at the same time, strictly speaking from a basketball perspective, that statement that I just said could be spun into a positive. Let's think about this for a second. The Bucks are currently a top team in the Eastern Conference, and Damian Lillard hasn't come close to playing his best basketball yet. What's going to happen when this man starts cooking and his synergy with Giannis becomes undeniable? Guys, in the comments below, let me know what you think about Damian Lillard and this Milwaukee Bucks team. Do you guys have any faith in Doc putting together a successful postseason run? Should we be more concerned with the fact that Dame says that he hasn't found himself yet in Milwaukee? Again, guys, let me know what you think of everything down in the comments below. Clicking the video on the screen right now is a great way to support my channel. I'm GetLikeCoop, bringing you guys the scoop until our next upload.